I had pulmonary embolus after the birth of a child in 1969, in March of 1969. And as I lay in intensive care and my lungs were non-functional, I felt as if I had an elephant sitting on my chest. I couldn't breathe. And my family was being prepared that I probably would not live through the day. And I was in the little cubicle in intensive care, and I just kept saying, God, give me a job. I'll do anything. I just had a brand new baby, and I had 2 small children at home, and I wanted to stay on the planet. So that was kind of my mantra. I just kept repeating that over and over again. And as I laid there, I knew if I closed my eyes, I wouldn't open them again. And the nurses would come in and say, you must rest. And I'd say, yes, I will. And then I just laid there asking for a job. And the room became extremely bright. I saw movement at the end of my bed. And when I looked, Jesus was standing at the end of my bed. Now, the brightness of the light was so bright, it's as if the sun had risen in the room. And when I saw Jesus, I was mesmerized by his eyes and how he looked. And then he looked at me with piercing gaze, and in my inner mind, I heard him say, because it was a very distinct male voice, not my own thought, remember, my child, you are loved. And at that point, I felt as if my crown opened up, and that I likened it to warm honey being poured in, just because I felt this warmth seeping down through the internally through every cell of my body. And as this warmth went through the my trunk and my lungs, I felt as if I could take a deep breath. That pressure had been lifted. And it's as real to me today, as clear to me today as I'm speaking to you about it, as if it just happened a moment ago. None of that memory has faded at all. And then it was probably a few seconds. It could have been minutes, hours. It was out of time. And then 6 months after I was out of the hospital and could hold the energy, I had all kinds of psychic phenomena happening to me externally, internally. I could do automatic writing. I had telekinesis. I could move objects. I could hear the messages as I heard Jesus, called clairaudience. And then I tranced spontaneously, and the direct voice came through to give messages. But I did all of these other modalities, and it happened very rapidly and spontaneously to me over a few weeks. And then I just started working with people. But I didn't, as you said before, I didn't go into social situations and go, ta-da, guess what I can do, because it wasn't openly spoken about, and people had a lot of fear, even though there were pockets of people interested in parapsychology and metaphysics and spiritual growth and seeking to have some experiences on their own, connectivity to guidance and their direct connect to source or God or force, however we wish to speak about that. But it wasn't spoken about openly. But I knew I'd made the commitment. That's what kept me going. And, of course, all the confirmations that I was getting as the information would come through of things I couldn't possibly have known about. And I just kept being affirmed and confirmed each day with messages and information. And then people coming into my life, like the scientists that I worked with, that then, again, confirmed that I was a psychic and I had these abilities. In fact, I had one physicist say, not only are you sane, you're super sane because you can walk in more than one world. You're walking in the earthly world, but you have your foot in other dimensions. And I thought, well, that's an interesting way to put it. But it was true, and then it just evolved as as people heard of me, and I was able to share the messages of Theo through all these years and been able to mentor people like Esther and others. It's been just so gratifying to be a part of this awakening that's happening. I think it's just an amazing time to be alive.